What happens at each stage of a criminal trial? Imagine stepping into a courtroom where each moment has a purpose, shaping the outcome of a case. Every step in a criminal trial is carefully designed to ensure fairness and justice. Let's walk through what happens at each stage so you can understand how the process works from start to finish. First, before the trial begins, both sides go through pre-trial procedures. They exchange evidence and information, a process called discovery. The defense reviews police reports, lab results, and other materials to find weaknesses or rights violations. They might file motions to suppress evidence obtained unlawfully or ask to dismiss charges. Sometimes, the prosecution and defense start plea negotiations, which can resolve the case without a trial. Next comes jury selection, also known as voir dire. If the case involves a jury, potential jurors are questioned by the judge, prosecutor, and defense attorney. The goal is to find impartial jurors who can decide the case fairly. They look for biases or conflicts that might influence their judgment. Once the jury is set, the trial officially begins with opening statements. The prosecution starts by outlining what they plan to prove, giving the jury an overview of their case. Then the defense presents its opening statement, explaining their theory and pointing out weaknesses in the prosecution's evidence. After opening statements, the prosecution presents its case in chief. They call witnesses like police officers, victims, or experts, and introduce physical evidence and documents. The defense then cross-examines each witness to challenge their credibility or the evidence's validity. For example, they might question forensic contamination or inconsistencies in witness statements. When the prosecution finishes, the defense has a chance to present its own evidence and witnesses. They might call alibi witnesses, experts to refute forensic evidence, or character witnesses. The defendant can choose to remain silent or testify. If they do testify, the prosecution can cross-examine them. Following the presentation of evidence, the defense can move for a directed verdict or judgment of acquittal. This asks the judge to dismiss the case if the evidence is not enough to prove guilt. Judges rarely grant this motion, but it's an important safeguard. Then comes closing arguments. Both sides summarize their cases for the jury. The prosecution emphasizes evidence supporting guilt, while the defense points out doubts and urges the jury to find the defendant not guilty. After closing arguments, the judge gives jury instructions. They explain the relevant laws and what the burden of proof means. The jury then deliberates privately, reviewing the evidence and discussing the case. Finally, the jury reaches a verdict. They decide whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty based solely on the evidence. If found guilty, the judge will schedule sentencing, which can happen immediately or later. Throughout each stage, the defense plays a vital role. They protect the defendant's rights, challenge evidence, and try to create reasonable doubt. Understanding these steps helps you see how the criminal justice system aims to be fair and thorough at every turn.